Hi, Vancouver Opera. My name is Luka Kawabata, and we are back again with one of our Yulanda M. Faris Young Artists alumni, Stephanie Tritchew, mezzo soprano extraordinaire. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And on this lovely sunny day that marks the beginning of the arrival of summer, I feel like this city honestly just like wakes up and people start talking to strangers, and there's a whole different vibe.
Totally. Vancouver really, it just knows how to turn it up. Like when I landed here with Holly and on Saturday, we were like, oh yeah, Vancouver came through. Like just did not disappoint.
Perfect timing. You planned it that way. You knew that it was gonna happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. So you've been performing across the country, and
Mhm.
in your opinion, what makes Vancouver a special place for you to perform in?
I would say, I mean, just as a place, I would say that I was, from the moment I landed in Vancouver for the Young Artist Program, which was the first time I had ever been to Vancouver,
Hmm.
I was absolutely floored by everything that it had to offer. Like, I remember talking to my parents who live in Ontario, and I was like, the city, the ocean, the mountains, and the forest, like they're all here. It just felt like this amazing. So I mean, that's just something that I love about Vancouver is that I kind of feel like it has everything that I love,
Hmm.
which is it's just a delight.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've been talking to a lot of the young artists alumni, and kind of it's been interesting knowing how many of these artists have become such great friends and have worked together, have connected over the years. We were talking to our friend Kate Wood the other week, and she was telling us about how she has a bracelet that you gave her that she always
Yeah.
wears before every performance. So first of all,
Yeah.
how can we get these magic bracelets? And do they supply the same amount of comfort to everybody?
That's a good question. I mean, Kate is one of my most dear friends. We've spent a lot of time together and we've sung a lot together. And so yeah, we were working on a contract and I gave her one of these bracelets that I made. I love crafts.
Mhm.
So I don't make a ton of jewelry, but I've made myself sort of like necklaces and bracelets and stuff and I love doing that and I gave her one and yeah, I mean it's so sweet every time I see her and she's wearing it and she plays with it and stuff. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If anyone ever wants a bracelet, you just let me know.
Taking orders. I mean,
I can sell
start
at your
that
bracelet.
side gig. Do you have any pre-show rituals or traditions that you follow?
Um, I try not to be rigid because I kind of feel like life happens, and so I don't really want to get superstitious about anything in case it doesn't happen, and then I don't want to get too mental about it.
Mhm.
But I would say that something that feels important to me on a day of a show is to do some sort of physical warm up. So I'll try and do like a strong walk or a yoga practice or something like that just to get into my body. I'm not strict about, the timing of it or anything, but I like to do something like that. And I like to vocalize little bits throughout the day. So I'd say that that's something that I'm pretty strict about with myself if I can get it done. I have a ring. I'm not wearing it right now, but I wear it all the time when I sing in concert. Obviously, I can't do that when I'm in an opera, but when I'm in concert, I always wear my grandmother's ring, and that's become a little bit of a low key superstition for me. So I'm trying to again not rely on it too much, but I wouldn't say that I'm a person that has any really strict pre-performance things.
Mhm. That's so funny because I have a ring that my parents gave me as well, that now if I'll leave the house and I don't have it, and I'm going to an audition or a performance, I'll be like, okay, it's okay, you can exist without the ring.
Yeah. It becomes I never thought that it was a superstitious thing, but then I there was this one time where I was leaving my place and I was going to Ontario to do some recordings. I got like a grant
Mhm.
to do recordings and headshots and everything. And I was doing these like kind of fancy recordings, the last ones that I had professionally done. And I had forgot my grandma's ring. And I was freaking out. Like, I can't do these recordings without the ring. I can't do it without the ring. So my mom had to give me some other ring of my grandma's
Wow.
to wear.
Yeah.
Like, so I realized in that moment, like, oh, this has become a little bit of a crutch for me. So I've been trying to work with that because, like I said, I don't like to get rigid about these things.
Yeah, 100%. So you've just come off of a successful recital tour around BC, and for the Longing Project, which you self-produced with another Vancouver Opera alumnus, Holly Crooker. Do
Yeah.
you have any words of advice for other artists who are looking to self-produce and create their own art?
Words of advice. You know, I would just say do it. Like, I think the biggest thing for me, this is the first time I've done anything like this, and it's not for lack of having ideas, but it's just for fear of saying, oh, well, I probably won't do it because it'll probably be too much work, or it'll probably be too expensive, or if I don't get a grant, then I'm gonna have to fund it myself. And like, there's a million reasons to not do something. And I would just say to be brave and do things, because if you're waiting always for an email to come through so that you have permission to work in this climate, in this industry, you may be disappointed. So it's kind of like, if you want to make art, you just kind of have to make it. Like, if you're not being produced by someone, you just kind of have to do it yourself. Because I think everyone has something to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, so just say it. Is what I would say. I mean, I'd say the biggest accomplishment of the whole thing for me was the fact that I actually followed through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're on the other side of it where you're like, wow, I did this thing too.
Totally.
And
Totally.
it all happened, and I think it propels you to show that this is step one, even in a process of continuing to make opportunities. So yeah, that's super inspiring to me as well. So both of us work, we talked a little bit about pre-show traditions and stuff, but we work in operatic spaces where I always think that theaters and stuff are kind of mysterious places for people who don't frequent backstage.
Yes.
What would you say is a surprisingly normal thing that audiences wouldn't expect to be happening backstage? Be it people running around, people engaging with each other, or just the fact that artists are strange people as well?
That's a good question. I would say, like, it is all very normal, actually. I mean, I think everything about it is normal, from, people like rushing to get there and trying to get their coffee and being like, oh, I need to run out and get some lunch. I mean, there's all of that's normal. I'd say there's a lot of people who are trying to take a bazillion pictures to try and get the one thing to put on Instagram, with the right angle, in the right costume. I'd say that there's people listening to music and talking to each other and trying to keep themselves feeling normal. Or else you get maybe too nervous and you start putting too much pressure on yourself. And so I think I always experience that people are trying to normalize their own experience backstage so that they don't get too nervous and too in their head, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I will say, like, the last show I did at VO, I was sharing a dressing room I was one of the 3 ladies in Magic Flute, and I was sharing the dressing room with the 2 other ladies. And we were like really into snacks, all 3 of us. So it was like, we were always trying to figure out, like, one of them had this bag of those Lifesaver mints, and we were eating those like they were going out of style. And I had Pringles. I was gifted a can of Pringles from one of the other ladies, and we were trying to all figure out, like, how close can we eat Pringles to going out on stage? And so it was like, well, we don't have to go on for another like 2 songs, so we could probably have a handful of Pringles now. So we were just like trying to manage a snack habit with our entrances, and that was really normal. I find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny, and probably even like, yeah, cutting it closer and closer and taking Pringles breaks throughout as well.
Being like going out on stage and being like, I think I have a chip stuck. No. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about the arts is that, or about music, is that it is simultaneously our job as well as influences like so much of our life, how we see the world. It's something that we carry with us all the time. Is there a way that music serves you in your life beyond just performance and creation of art?
Yeah, for sure. And I find this is actually a really hard thing to explain, actually. I've tried to explain it to people before. Um, and I'd say that for me, personally, music is like it would be like getting hooked up to like intravenous vitamin C or something. Like I find it so enlivening. And I've always promised myself that if I weren't a performer, like if I didn't have success professionally, I would always have music. I would do something. I would join choirs. I would do community theater. I would do, you know, take singing. Like I have a goal of, if I stop singing or something and I'm like a 75-year-old woman, an 80-year-old woman, like I might still try and take voice lessons, or I've started taking harp lessons. Like I just love music.
Mhm.
It's not even that I love it so much, and I do love it so much, but I need it. Like I feel like I need it. It's a nutrient to me that is um, so unique that no other actual nutrient offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we can hold on to that all, and really understand that too. I think all musicians and artists find that in different forms and really resonate with what you just said. I have one more question for you, but I just wanted to thank you for joining us today and sharing your amazing experience and insights and talking about where you are now in the path of coming from the Vancouver Opera Young Artists Program, and how the lives and the careers of artists who have come through these doors at VO have really flourished. So
Mm.
thank you for that. And
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thanks for
my
having me.
last question for you is
Mhm.
maybe a bit of an existential one. Maybe you have a a direct answer for it. But what are your dreams for the future of the arts?
For the future of the arts, I hope that we continue to find ways to invite people into seeing the relevancy of and the necessity of the arts. I mean, you're in so many forums and situations and talks and whatever of people talking about how do we make art more accessible? How do we draw audiences? How do we, it's a big question right now. And without, I mean, I just can't think of how sad a world would be without art.
Hmm.
And so I hope we never have to wonder that, and the people who are creating, the people who want to create and will create if there's an audience, a means to. And I think if there is no audience, people might still create, but they might do it in the privacy of their own home or whatever else. And I think, there's a lot of challenging parts of being a person and being in this world. And I think that art is something that offers always a beauty, an unusual beauty. And I hope we don't lose that, and I hope we don't lose the ability to share that. And so I guess my greatest hope is that we find ways to keep showing people the beauty and how important it is, and people will see that and still want to consume it instead of just sitting at home and consuming it online.
Absolutely.
So that's my hope.
Yeah. We'll do it together, Steph.
We'll do it. One person at a time.
Exactly. Well, we'll invite everyone in, and it'll
Yeah,
be a joint effort, I'm sure.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's it.
thanks so much for chatting with us. We're looking forward to seeing you in Vancouver and at Vancouver Opera. Again, thanks for giving our Vancouver Opera audience an amazing chance to get to know you and to have a little more insight into the alumni of this fantastic program. But we'll see you soon. Have a great day,
Yeah.
and
Thank
until next time.